So in this video, I'm going to list red flags that indicate a couple may benefit from therapy. Then I'm going to talk about how to approach the topic of therapy with your partner, especially if you have a resistant partner. Now, here are ways if you have a partner that is resistant, and that does happen. Again, we kind of highlighted the overall kind of cultural energy around therapy in and of itself, let alone couples therapy. And even I would add to that, therapy around sex within a coupledom. Like, oftentimes, if people need support, like sometimes you get a partner who's like, well, I don't need any help in that department. And it's like, everyone needs help in that department. Lovingly. What I mean is you can always grow in any, department. Yeah, you can always grow your skill set. So I'll just leave that there for this video. But I think what you should do is be really transparent and honest with your partner and have a real honest conversation. And you want to move away from you are doing this, or you are mean, or kind of these you statements. First of all, I would validate the relationship, saying like, I love you and I'm really committed to making this relationship grow. I just think we need additional support around communication, or I notice that we are disconnecting or feel disconnected. And I think that maybe going to couples work and having a third party would be helpful in giving us some tools to reconnect. Now, I know some of that sounds very therapist-y, and I don't have a problem with that. However, you can remix this and articulate it in whatever style that is right for you, as a person, as a couple, so you just remix it, but it's kind of coming from an honest place, sticking away from accusations, or you don't do this, or you don't fulfill this role, and saying, hey, I think we need support in this area, and because neither of us are couple therapists, we should reach out to one. And there's an amazing network of wonderful people who go through training to support you in making your partnership better. Okay, the worst that can happen is you realize that you both are not in the right partnership. But here's the amazing thing about that is that then you're free to find what is right for both of you and be way happier potentially than you currently are. But it's nothing scary about couples work, you know what I mean? And yes, it can take time for people to have to find the right therapist for them. And we can talk about that in a whole other video. So really quickly, lastly, I'm gonna say to you, this is normally what happens in couples work. Again, every couples therapist is entirely different. So this is how I approach couples work, but normally you have what we call an intake process, and I get a history of the relationship. How did you meet? I think how did you meet is such a beautiful way to start the work, because it can remind people and get them out of the problems that they're currently focus on, and have them remind each other of why they're in this to begin with. Like, how did you meet? So you get a history of the relationship in the intake. And intakes can take sometimes a couple of sessions, because you're really trying to get a history of the relationship, figure out what brings people to therapy, and then begin able to see the tools that are necessary. I think one thing to keep in mind when you approach couples therapy is that how you heal and move through the process may not be done in the time that you have in your head. So for instance, if you came to me and you were like, we're gonna heal in 6 months, and I would love that for you, but that may not happen because it takes people a different amount of time to open up, to say the truth, to realize what's happening for them, to ask for what they need, to have the language around how they feel. So I would just bear that in mind. But normally I do an intake process, and then I will do individuals with each person in the partnership to get their own perspective. And then we come together and we do the couple sessions. And sometimes we split up again, right? I do individuals again if there is something that comes up, and other times we stay in the partnership working on the issues that bring people to therapy. So I hope this video was helpful in giving you an idea of what can bring you to couples work, what it can be like in couples therapy, and the overall kind of approach to how to get your partner to do therapy with you, you know? At the end of the day, it's an additional tool to support you, and that's mainly what I'd like to stress. Like, it just helps you develop skills and tools to be able to change maybe systems that have been in place for a really long time.